So, hey everyone, I'm Amanda, and this is Wellness Me Up, where we talk about the weird, wise, and wildly supportive sides of wellness with coaches that you can actually connect with when you're just done pretending that everything is fine. Today, I am joined by Lara, and she is a certified life coach and certified executive coach. And so I asked Lara to just sum up their approach to wellness in one or two sentences. And here's what they said. My approach to wellness is about alignment, mind, body, heart, and spirit. It's about learning to trust your body, regulate your nervous system, and create the safety to hear your truth again, coming back home to yourself, your body, and your truth. So grab your tea, take a breath, and let's see if what they share just helps you get a little bit more wellnessed up. Okay. Hey, Laura.
Hello.
Um, Nice to have you here. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Okay, so this podcast, I do six questions and we'll just kind of go through each of them. And then one is I like to do a little bit of a spinner question on a wheel, and we'll just see kind of what happens from there, but we'll go through that. So, question number one. There are six areas of wellness that I typically focus on in this podcast. So, spiritual wellness, relationship wellness, emotional mental health wellness, physical wellness, life transitions and identity wellness, and then financial and purpose wellness. So, really curious, which of these areas do you support people through? And then, how do you actually support them on that journey of wellness?
All of the above. All of the above is truly, yeah, all of the above in every single area we sort of dive into.
How is it that you work like through that, like with people on the journey on some of those, even just like one of those that calls out to you?
So, for example, like when we talk about our like physical bodies, like we are so detached and we're so in our mind from our physical bodies. And so to do any emotional healing or to work through trauma or to work through your shadows or to work through your patterns and generational patterns and how you show up in relationships, whether it's partnerships, lovers, friendships, work relationships. When you peel all those back, it's all back rooted within your body. And so when I talk about nervous system regulation, um, when you are dysregulated, when you are in fight or flight, when you are doing all those things, you can't actually navigate any of those different areas. So it's one of those threads that it has to be addressed. You have to sort of, see yourself. Now, through all of them, you need to be witnessed. We don't
Mhm.
know what we're triggered by or running by. That's the beautiful component of working with a coach or a guide, because we can witness you when you can't witness yourself, because a shadow is a shadow because it's behind you. So that's a beautiful thing of working with a practitioner or working with a coach or a guide, like I said, and then we can help sort of unravel what that is and witness those, bring self-awareness to those different components and help move forward. But a lot of it comes down to recognizing what's sort of going on within your body.
Mhm. Like getting into it and like really just feeling what's
Well, your
happening,
body's a
right? We're
compass.
not.
Like your body is
Yes.
truly a compass to tell you what actually is going on,
Mhm.
right? We truly gaslight ourselves a lot to think that we're feeling something different or something else is going on when we tune back into our bodies.
Mhm.
It really can guide us with what we need to look at first and where we need to navigate first.
Yeah, and that like really gets into like all that emotional and self-awareness, like with that piece. And it's a tricky thing to do to recognize like when we go on those loops and what's actually happening, like outside of ourselves and how
Like
to
you
get
could do a lot
into
of the
it, right?
healing and reflective work on your own, but when
Yeah.
we all reach a point that we become stuck. And that's why community is so important. That's why being witnessed is so important,
Hmm.
because there is some reflection work that you can do on your own, but at so many times within your healing journey, within your self-discovery journey, you need to be witnessed.
And that I think like ties so beautifully into like the second question. It's so fun how it just like leads into that, right? And so when someone says, I don't even know what it is that I need, but I just know that something has to change. How do you meet a client in that moment? Like how do you support them through and hold space for all of that messy, those beginning moments of healing?
I mean, you start little and you expand outwards. So once
Mm-hmm.
again, even in the initial coaching conversation, which I usually encourage to make sure that we are a right fit for each other, based on my experience, based on, where you're going. Generally, the intuitive component of me can pick up on what is underlying, or I can ask a question into something and then it will lead. So so many times, for example, if I start doing career transition coaching, really it comes down to what is your purpose, and what sort of brings you joy. If it's about a pattern that you continue to see in relationships, well, we might unravel that, and it has everything to do with your self-worth and your self-value. So once again, people don't necessarily know, and this is where, because of my experience, because of, also my intuitive gifts and everything like that, it's asking those questions that open up a doorway that we walk through, and then we see sort of what unfurls from there. But it's a layer. We heal in layers. We go through the pillars over and over and over again, and every single time we learn a new awareness, a new perspective, all that kind of stuff. So healing is lifelong. Like you're not just in a healed state. Like you're always learning a new perspective, a new awareness, all that kind of stuff on the journey. But yeah, it's we have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I can automatically pick up, okay, boom, boom, boom. That's what we're going to discover first, and then it unfurls from there. So, yeah, it's really about having a conversation and being witness, being like, okay, well, you mentioned this 3 times. So, what's that about? And you wouldn't notice that you do
Mm-hmm.
that. So, yeah, truly a conversation leads a lot quicker down a path when you're feeling stuck, because usually, there's a pattern that I can pick up quite fast.
It's and so I know like we talked even before like this started, which is back and forth, and I was like, hey, I have the questions for you. Did you have a read at them? And you're like, no, it didn't. And you're like, oh, we'll just go with it. And so I can see that intuitiveness coming out because even what you're just saying is leading into the next question. Like, so when you're saying that, like somebody had like, is saying something 3 times and you're picking up on that, like, let's dig into that a little bit further. That question that I like to ask and lean into next is like, then what is something that tends to unlock people, like a shift, a moment, or like a truth bomb by just labeling something like you just did there? Like, hey, we're on this 3 times now. Let's bring that up for that. And so if something is unlocking that for people, what is that? And then what then starts to propel them into those realization, like wellness goals that they have for themselves? Like what starts moving them into like, oh, I'm doing the wellness things now, like I'm figuring it out.
Self-awareness is a huge
Yeah.
thing, right? And self-accountability is a huge thing. Those are the two components that people need to get to on the healing journey. And self-awareness for me in my own healing journey, I had no idea how absent. I had no self-awareness. Like I thought I did, but I truly did not. And so, and even when I say self-awareness, not awareness and emotional intelligence of anyone outside of you, your own self-awareness of why you're showing up the way you're showing up, or why are you doing that, or why are you performing, or and the beautiful thing is, because I'm not worried about how someone perceives me. I'm able to speak my truth. I'm able to, and when I say my truth, it's what I'm witnessing.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times people don't want to say the truth because they're worried about how they're going to be perceived, the self-judgment, the self-shame, all that kind of stuff. I don't have any of that. So if something's guiding me to say something or to channel something, you're going to know. So, And then, but it's about being open to receiving that. And a lot of times people aren't open to receiving that because going back to the body, they're in fight or flight, right? A lot of people say, yes, 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 I want to understand this. But when you dive into the root of your patterns, your ideologies that keep you small, your, toxic traits, all that kind of stuff, your triggers, it's really uncomfortable. It's
Mhm.
really uncomfortable to say, right, that's not okay. Right. Like even in my own journey, I mean, we are raised in a very narcissistic society, programming, condition, our parents, beliefs, ideologies, all that kind of stuff. And so, when you start having to have the awareness of, oh my gosh, how what I'm doing is so entitled or so narcissistic or so victim, it's more comfortable to stay in victim than actually take radical accountability of my own life. A lot of people, that's too uncomfortable for them. And
Mhm.
so it's about going in layers. Like I said, like this is deep work. Like healing is not for the faint of heart. So, it's in layers. It's little pieces. It's not like, snap your fingers and this is an area that you finally healed. It's like,
That's
okay,
right.
right. Where are all these threads, right? And you can't see them, and that's why being witnessed is so powerful. It's like, okay, well, there's this thread here, or like you sort of bypassed and went over that really fast. And so you can
Mhm.
start picking up the threads or showing them that there are threads to be picked up. I mean, once again, I always say, you know I'll show you the way, but it's your choice to walk through it. Like, you can
Mhm.
lead a horse to water, but you can't
Water.
make it drink. It's the same thing. It's like,
Mhm.
once again, I'm happy to show the way, but you have to do the work. And
Mhm.
that work, you have to do it on your own. I can't do that healing work for you. I can't
Mhm.
dive into your subconscious and have you rewire it. Because once again, it's going to be you who gets to co-create the life that you want. And the beautiful thing is we can create that life, right? We can co-create exactly what we want, but we need the clarity and guidance to start going down a different path, that the path that you're on right now is not getting you right. I mean, technically we're all living out the divine's curriculum,
Mhm.
and it's going to all lead to the same result. Just one path could take you 20 years and one path could take you 2 months, or one path could take you 2 days. Like,
Mhm.
it's about choosing like how your life unfurls for you. But the beautiful thing is there's no mistakes. Like if you need to take the 20 years, that's what your soul needs to learn that lesson.
Mhm.
And some people can do it in 2 days, and some people don't have to learn that lesson at all.
That's
So,
right.
everyone is so unique. And that's where there's not necessarily a specific program. And that's why intuitive coaching is so powerful, because I sort of meet you where you are,
Mhm.
because everyone is on a different path. Everyone is exploring something different. I mean, the root of all of our fears is very similar, but yeah, we're all sort of on a different path. And so that's the cool thing about sort of just jumping in where you are, and let's see how far we can move forward.
Yeah, you unpacked like so much in there, right? And like the visualization that always just comes to mind when we talk about these kind of layers and what's happening with what we've learned, what we've picked up along the way, and all of our human experiences, and how others are perceiving us, how we think others are perceiving us, how we perceive ourselves. Like it's like comes down to like these masks that we're wearing for other people, for ourselves. And it sounds like with working with you, like you can really like just see that and support people on that, call it, and then be like, well, why get into the whys, right? That layered approach with them. Ah, that's amazing. And so, like, what are your clients usually most surprised by after when they're working with you?
I don't sugarcoat anything.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
like sometimes through the process, they need to go away and stew in it for a little while. Like a lot
Yeah.
of times I do what I call quantum sessions. So it's just like it's a very intense 90-minute to 2-hour deep dive, and then
Hmm.
you need to integrate it into your life. And then it might take 2 to 3 months to integrate it because you have to wait for different experiences to happen. You have to be like, oh, right, like Lara mentioned that, and then move forward
Mhm.
with that. So, a lot of times with the intuitive, component of it, like I'll name the pattern and then
Huh.
they can actually then see it as they
Mhm.
sort of move forward. But, sometimes in that moment, in that space and time, when I identify it or witness it, it's really uncomfortable, but then they can see the
Mhm.
layers as it moves forward. So, yeah, no, it's more of a, you know, it's fun when I hear my clients come back a month or two and be like, oh my gosh, this happened. And, I was able to navigate it totally
Mhm.
different because I had the awareness. That's what I do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, once again, like once it's witnessed, you can't like
Mhm.
unsee it.
Yes. Yeah.
And
It's
so
like those. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
you can run, but you can't unsee it.
And
So
see it.
so
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean it's truly potent in having someone else witness you or can see
Hmm.
you, because then you can no longer hide in the stories that you're telling yourself.
That's right. It's like those visual images that you see people like, oh, see what's in the picture. How many images do you see in this? And then once you actually find that, you can't unsee that
Yeah.
image anymore. Like you're always going to look at it and see it, but before you were always looking for it or not really seeing it, and it just looked like a big mess. But then you zero in on that one area. Oh my gosh, I see it. So every time you see that picture now, you're going to see it. So it sounds like that's something that you do in that really direct approach, like working with your clients that way, because you just call it, you speak it, and then it's impossible not to see these things or interpret it or integrate that into themselves and build that self-awareness then that starts
Yeah.
to happen.
It's
Oh,
building
very
the
cool.
self-awareness. That is truly the
Yeah,
root, because once
it
you build
is.
the self-awareness, then the next scary or courageous step would be then to take that self-accountability. It's like,
Yeah.
right,
Hmm.
like now I can see it.
Yeah.
How am I taking accountability for it?
How am I going to do that? Very cool. Okay, so this is going into question 5, and this is something fun that I'm doing on this podcast because we keep hearing that phrase, that buzzword out there that, healing wellness is not linear. And so I'm literally calling this the wellness isn't linear. What the fuck wheel? Like, what is this? Because that's what happens in so many of our journeys, right? And I really just want to keep things random and absurd and human because, like, as we all go through these wellness things, this is things come up and spiral us on our journey all the time and happen. So we're just gonna have some fun. I'm gonna spin this wheel. And full disclosure, I asked ChatGPT to come up with these questions on the wheel, so I have no idea like what can happen. We could literally land on a question anywhere between like, "Wow, that's a really deep question," or "Why are we suddenly talking about air fryers?" Like,
Let's
I
go.
don't know. I don't know.
Dive
I
in.
don't know what's going to happen. So I don't know what kind of energy is going to come up. This conversation could just go absolutely anywhere. There's no wrong answer. So you can just be you, and we can just spin it and see what the universe or, our favorite robot assistant wants to have for us today. So let me go ahead and share screen. Let's go to the wheel. Okay. We see the wheel okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. So I've got 6 questions on here, and let's see which one is going to land on. Okay. So what's a belief about wellness that you used to hold that you now laugh at?
Hmm. That, I mean, truly, a belief about wellness is that there's a healed state.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I truly thought, at so many points of my journey, it's like, okay, I've done the work. I've done the work. You stomp your feet and you're like, I've done the work. Why is this not happening? And like the beautiful thing is, as the more that you realize that you have no control and it's about surrendering, you have no idea what you need to learn. You know what I mean? Like even
Hmm.
when it comes to like being ready for a new relationship or all that kind of stuff, you're like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, okay, I could receive this now. Like I'm totally like in this station or, headspace or all that kind of stuff. And then you go through all these like tower moments or life moments that put you on your butt and you're just like, "Oh, like I learned so much." Like, even this summer, I peeled back layers of receiving and
Hmm.
self-worth and self-value that I had no idea still needed to be addressed. But
Yeah.
they needed to be addressed because I know that the partner that I'm calling in for myself, I needed to be
Mm-hmm.
able to be vulnerable, to not associate receiving with owing something. And there was so many layers. And so that's what I mean by like, you think that you're ready, and then something happens that you're being put into a scenario that you have to look at it and you're like, oh, right. Okay. Receiving without owing something. Like what? I truly had that belief. And so once again, you're always unraveling a new awareness in that pillar that you're
Hmm.
working through. So healing, there's no end state. It constantly continues, and you don't even have to go looking for it. That's the beautiful thing too. When we talk about the healing journey, like a lot of people are like, okay, well, I've gone through this. I've worked on my self-love. Like I have self-love and self-worth. And then, they ask a question or they do something and you're like, well, you just self-abandon yourself. So you don't.
Yeah.
And then they go, oh, like,
Hmm.
everyone, and once again, it's a different layer, a different perspective. Like we are programmed and conditioned the second we come in earthside. That is a
Hmm.
lot of programming and conditioning that we have to unravel. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, there's no end result, and you will continue healing in
Yeah.
layers forever. Even when a new partner comes in,
Hmm.
it's still going to throw me over to be like, right, receiving mode, right, not being in my
Yes.
hyper masculine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could do
Hmm.
all the work, but then you still need life to unfurl. Like, even when I work with clients and they're like, okay, right, I, have this awareness about my family and I've put up boundaries. And I was like, okay, right, we might do this work in March. They still need to get through summer barbecues and Christmas. So
Hmm.
you can't rush your healing. You need life to unfurl. You need to still go
Hmm.
through those moments. You need to still have life put you on your butt. Like you still need to have, the universe sort of shake things up. So you can't rush it, and you're also never completed. You don't
Hmm.
need to spend your entire life not being able to move forward because you feel like you need to heal. Like you still need to live life, but know that there's always everything that you experience is a lesson.
Yeah.
So, when you hold it with that frequency or vibration, then, you continue to receive the lessons that the universe has for you.
Right. And it is kind of funny to like laugh at because just thinking about that question because it's we think we're done. It's just like, oh, I've done so much work, I've done this, I've done therapy, I've been it, and then boom, something is going to happen in your life that is going to throw you off, whether it's a new connection that comes in, whether you're not getting enough water intake, like any of those things can just like throw you off completely and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm here again, or I'm somewhere different and I'm
Exactly.
learning this, like what is this, like I didn't know what this feeling is, or what like I've never experienced this before, like what is actually happening. So it just keeps evolving and growing each time. So yeah, you're absolutely right, like it just keeps going, like there's no end to it. It's like I always think of like people with video games, right? Like there's no beating the final boss at the end. Like it's just you're just gonna have to keep going through the level and you're gonna go through another door, you're gonna discover something different. When I was a kid, I used to play Zelda all the time. I don't even play video games anymore, so I don't know why this is coming up. But I used to play Zelda all the time, and I remember every time I played that game, I would discover something new, something else unhidden under, like, you could dig up that area of the lawn or wherever you would be and you'd find something else. So that's, that's like that wellness part too, right? It's gonna keep going. You're gonna keep finding stuff about yourself, even if you're on that loop, doing it. And then tying back into your coaching, like how you call people on that direct, like with that a direct approach and build that self-awareness, right? So yeah, yeah, I love that. So cool. Amazing. Okay, so I end the show just talking about this question, and it's the name of the show. So, what does Wellness Me Up mean to you in your own words?
I think there's wellness in itself is so multifaceted. And so what it truly is mind, body, heart and soul, because there is, in my healing journey, it's like I went through healing modalities and frequency work and supplementation and the emotional work and so and the physical rehabilitation of life and all that kind of stuff. So I truly it truly is multifaceted, but it is all to support the highest version of yourself that you're holding, that you think is possible, and where you're striving to.
Mm-hmm. And just like building yourself up from there, like what are your goals? How are you going to get there? All that. So yeah, that's wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Well, thank you very, very much, Lara, for being here today. It's been really insightful and meaningful chatting with you about how your take is, about how you support clients, all the things. Is there anything else that kind of is popping up for you that you're like, oh, I wish I'd put that in there too, or I said?
No, it's just starting where you
Mm-hmm.
are, like
Yeah.
on the healing journey, like you're never behind, it's just sort of saying, okay, right, this is where I am, and this is the vision that I have for myself, and I don't know how to get there or where to start. So you just start with where you're at, and then move forward from there.
Mm-hmm. I agree wholeheartedly. You've got to just take a step somewhere and just
Exactly.
go somewhere. Start somewhere. Amazing. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Okay, so well, everyone, that is episode of Wellness Me Up, and here's to just getting a little bit more wellnessed up, one episode at a time. We will catch you next time.